All right, baby, and welcome to the Cooligans Living Room FC. We are back, and our guest is here. And Christian, we've got a legend in the house.
Okay.
And by in the house, I mean in a box remotely, but still.
Yeah. More than 6 feet apart. We're
social distancing, right? And frankly, I feel like if we weren't and I kicked the ball, she'd still save it. You know what I mean? This is incredible. One of the 99ers. I mean, this is a moment that changed the history of American soccer for so many people, not just the young women that watched, but so many people.
That's right. I think this is our second 99er? Well, obviously, we have Michelle Akers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at you, Christian, remembering stuff. All right.
One at a time. We're getting through all of them.
But this is absolutely, amazing. It's one of the few people who I could honestly say, if you give me a rocket launcher, and I shoot a soccer ball out of it 10 times, she might stop at least 3 of them. You know what I mean? She's absolutely incredible. I've heard her call things like the wall. You remember her obviously from the amazing save against China in the 99 World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, pull your car over. Come on, put that bad boy in park, pull up the e-brake so nothing happens, and put your hands together for the one, the only, Briana Scurry, everybody!
Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. You guys are hilarious. I appreciate it.
All right.
We got what we wanted.
All right. So this is a good start. I see how you get into your opponent's head already with the compliments.
Yes.
Okay?
Gotta butter you up first.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You disarm them. You
save a shot. You're like, that was good though. You almost got me. You're like, oh my god.
Look,
I think we're friends.
I mean, there's I'm already the worst thing about this interview right now, I'm already feeling that I can't talk to you for 4 hours, right? So we have a limited amount of time, but let's start with the pressing news, the important stuff, especially with the NWSL and your involvement in the Washington Spirit. You are now an investor and owner with the Washington Spirit. We just had Trinity Rodman on. The Washington Spirit, they're making a lot of moves. There's a lot of excitement going into this NWSL season. How are you feeling about the project right now?
I'm really excited, and I'm just honored to be a part of this group. Steve, the current lead owner, has really done some amazing things with the team since he started, taking the helm in 2019. And I was really excited about what he'd been able to do. And then when he approached me and my wife, Chris Azizos, about becoming investors with the investor group, I mean, we were thrilled, we were excited, we were happy to become the first ones in the group. And so that's really awesome. And for me, it's just really, really, the next level, the next stage of my contribution to the game. I played as a player, and then I was a coach, and now I'm an investor, and I really am excited to see where this next level.
Well,
that too. I did a little bit of that. Just excited to see where the next level takes me, and I'm really pumped about it, and we'll see where it goes.
I mean, you're just another example of I don't know the rocket ship sort of growth of women's soccer, or at least the NWSL in particular,
yes, over
the last 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said now where if you're not an investor or part owner of an NWSL team, are you even a celebrity? You know what I mean? Are you? You can't claim to be, right?
It's a new standard, right?
It really is, right? What do you think this bodes for the women's game in the U.S.? Because people keep talking about in the women's game, what the corner's been turned, I think it has. Yeah. I think we've seen it now, and we're on the other side of it. What do you think is going to happen in the next few years? How big do you think this thing can continue to get?
I think it's going to get huge. I really do. And it really is the next evolution of the game. I mean, we're in our third iteration of a women's soccer league in this country, and it's already lasted 3 times longer than the 2 previous ones. And now we have a new type of investor, a new type of owner. Our team, all these different investors involved with the Spirit. You have Angel City that has a similar profile while with their investor/owner group. And so I really think that this is something that can really provide a new dynamic and a new structure to how you proceed. Not only are you providing funds as an investor, but you're also providing your expertise in the area in which you've succeeded for years. And so that's really an exciting difference, an exciting thing to bring to the table. And I think it's really going to elevate women's soccer as a whole, not only in this country, but around the world.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk especially simply about getting into an ownership role, and clearly the level of influence you'll have on not only the business side, but the on the players themselves and what the league looks like going forward. We know about the leagues that didn't work out early on, a couple of years ago, and seeing the success of NWSL, you sort of hear about the people that went through it, that like what are some of the differences that you saw that you want to make sure. I don't want another player to deal with what I dealt with.
Right. Yeah, I think this time around, what you're going to see, especially now with this new structure, is you're going to see investors that are now, putting skin in the game financially, but then also their expertise. For example, my wife, Chris Azizos, she's a CEO of a PR firm called Livewire Media Strategic Communications. She's been doing that for 23 years. So what she can bring to the group is, an expertise in visibility and PR and communication for the Washington Spirit. And so that's something that didn't exist previously. I mean, all these different investors have their areas of expertise that they have already committed to, injecting into this team. And so with the group of us, we can solve just about any issue, or at least collaborate about it in a way that's never been done before. And Angel City has a similar makeup. And so I think with that change and with all these cooks in the kitchen with different skill sets, you're going to be able to really provide some ingenuity and creativity to how you can grow a team from the grassroots and make it a stable part of the community.
This is what we need for Cooligans, right? We need to go out and get investors that were in PR,
yes.
Or someone who's very creative with accounting. You know what I mean? Really help us out.
Don't get crazy, guys. Don't get crazy. Keep it up on board.
Okay, we're about to get a Hall of Famer in trouble. Okay, we gotta be careful.
Again, we're talking about Cooligans. Washington Spirit stays on the up and up. We'll take a couple risks.
Understood.
Let's say we'll rush the attacker a little bit. You know what I mean? This is goalkeeping. When you look at sort of what your role can be, mentorship is obviously something that seems to be very important for you. Talk a little bit about what your hopes are there.
Yeah, I think one of the major roles I'll have is player experience. And basically what that means is, the perception that a new player has of the club, of their ability to become a very good professional, and their ability to not only provide to the community as a whole, but obviously on the pitch. I mean, let's all be honest. The pitch is the best and most obvious role of a player, to play the game. But there's also other areas that make up an entire person, and whether they're happy in these other areas really does have an impact on how they play on the field. And so what I think I can provide is, an understanding and an experience level of what it's like to be a professional, and to help the players understand that they are more than just a footballer. And so when you have these other areas that you have interest in, for example, players who have interest in cooking or education or, community service, maybe doing a nonprofit at some point, these are things that, I can help them with in terms of understanding and the mindset of your contribution through soccer to the world, not just for yourself. And so it goes from an I kind of thing as an individual footballer to a we kind of thing. And that's the evolution of a player in the game anyway. And I think that's something that's always been important on the women's side in particular, and something that I can bring to the table, other than the obvious, goalkeeping tips and tricks, but just that there's more to it.
Well, we would hope you wouldn't keep that close to the vest. You know what I mean? Like,
I might reveal a thing or two about
like, no, you're gonna have to pay for the VIP masterclass if you want that. Like, you're the owner of the team.
All right, we have so much more with Briana Scurry, so come right back.
Hi, I'm Trinity Rodman, and I just kicked it with the Cooligans.
Welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC, and we are still here with Hall of Famer, World Cup winner Briana Scurry. And I think we should. I don't know when I'm going to get to talk to you again, so I have so many questions. I want to talk so much. I just want to talk. Obviously, the 99ers are. I mean, you are part of a group of women that left the stamp on just world soccer, in my opinion. I mean, you legitimately just changed the game. I know there was so much, there's so much history there, so much drama. I mean, there's so many details that we probably do not know. But I do want to talk about one thing in particular. Obviously, the penalty stop against China in '99. An interesting thing that started happening fairly recently when they changed the penalty kick taking rules, to make sure that players had to have a foot on the line. People started going back to this moment when you stopped a penalty, because when you look at this photo of you in goal, you are, you are like 5 inches away from the ball.
You're going through her pockets. You're like, oh, okay, you brought
I was going to smother that ball before she kicked it.
I mean, it's absolutely an incredible moment. It's just but people have been going back to it. I'm sure you've seen this online. How did you, look, the rules are the rules at the time.
Yes.
No one's saying anything.
Yes.
But how did you feel sort of like that irony, sort of seeing that brought back up now?
Yeah, it's interesting because people ask me that, haven't asked me lately, but they did ask me in the past, what do you think about that? And what I always say is, like you just said, that was the ruling at the time. I mean, if you recall, the referee is standing on that line watching me. And so the one referee is in charge of the kicker and the other one is in charge of the goalkeeper. And, I came off the line. That's just how we trained it, because back then it's what you did. And that rule was rarely enforced, if ever. And so, we just went with what we could do. And so also the other rule that changed was taking off your shirt. Brandy took her shirt off, after her goal, and now you get carded for that, and you didn't at the time. And so it's kind of like that, it was the way it was at the time. The referee was right there the whole time and never once even warned me or said anything about it. So the thing I think people forget is that soccer, a lot of the laws of the game is referee's discretion. And so had the referee decided to say something to me, then I would have adjusted accordingly.
Yeah.
Why is there the rule of putting your foot on the line anyway? I mean, it's a difficult thing to stop a penalty as it is.
Yeah.
They're just making it harder for the goalkeeper. Next thing they're going to be like, all right, now turn around. I mean, at what point, just let them kick it in the goal there. I mean, at what point are we going to make this even?
I hope never, but yes, you're right. Close your eyes and turn around. And then when I blow the whistle, then you can move, and by then the ball's back here, right?
Yeah,
you have to run from the corner flag and try to stop the kick. It's ridiculous.
Now I think about it, even with when that moment when Brandy Chastain obviously scores a goal, the winning penalty, winning the World Cup. Imagine she gets the second yellow in that moment. Or, you can't celebrate. You got to go back to the locker room.
Right.
You get your award tomorrow.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that came out of that, and maybe you could correct if this is true, because I don't know if this is true or folklore. Apparently, your mother felt you weren't the focus of the award ceremony enough as the other players, and you were like, "That's just mom being mom." The goalkeepers very rarely are.
Right.
Well, I have a mom like that. She wasn't allowed to come see me play baseball because she would just yell, "You're cheating," at anything that happened that I wasn't involved in, even if it was my own team. But talk a little bit about that moment.
Yeah, I mean, the moment for me was fantastic. My job was to save one, and I did. And all the kickers' jobs was to make one, and they all did. And so it was just a matter of the order of things. I really honestly feel that my mom, no matter how much attention I got, it wouldn't have been enough because, her baby's been working hard her whole life, right? And so also being a goalkeeper's mom is hard. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the goalkeeper has the majority of the responsibility and the minority of the glory. And it's the reverse for a field player and for forwards in particular. They get the majority of the glory and least amount of responsibility. So, I think my mom, felt a certain way, and she would stand by that if she were still with us, and I respect and appreciate that. I was just doing my part, and I feel like the team got the amazing response, and in the long run, we changed the world for women on that day, and so I really do feel honored and appreciate the fact that we were able to not only catapult our own team and women's soccer in this country, but women all over the world.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm sure you hear comments all the time, or just exactly how you've inspired people and all these things. Like I remember details from reading the Caitlin Murray's book, The National Team, where I mention this all the time, but like there were great details about you being on the team bus and arriving to maybe even before the World Cup started, and seeing how many people were there, like where I think it was something where there was all this traffic and no one on the team understood why there was traffic, and then you're like, as you get closer to like Giant Stadium, you're like, oh, this is for us.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't know if that's naivete or what that means, but that's exactly right. We had that first game at Giant Stadium, and we had our police escort, and we had to drive on the shoulder to get to the stadium. And, we arrived there 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours early before the game kickoff begins. And so the fact that there was so many cars, in our route to get there, we were afraid we were going to be late. And so we were a little bit nervous about it. And then we realized that all these cars were for us. Now, granted, Giant Stadium holds almost 80,000 people. And so we expected and we understood that we had virtually sold that stadium out, but I just don't think we understood what it would look like, on like how people would, come to the stadium that early before us. And that was really just an amazing thing. And that really was a fantastic memory that I have as well, waving to the fans as the bus went by and then waving back to us, and they were taking pictures of us and we were taking pictures of them. And it was really like kids in the candy store, on both sides.
I will have you know, as someone who grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and at the time I would take Route 3 a lot to get into the city, they honor that moment by also causing traffic almost every day of the week, just to honor you guys. And people drive on the shoulder and everything.
It's the ritual, yeah. It just shows how such an incredible accomplishment. Selling out a stadium for women's soccer, and just what a moment of pride that doesn't really take away the anxiety of traffic. You know what I mean? Like, you just like, oh no,
move! You're here for me.
We got a game to play. Gotta get ready. Yes.
You probably remember somebody from the traffic, like, they're talking about making this movie for Netflix, right? You should be like, put somebody in this kind of car that just won't move over.
No matter how many cops beep at them or flash their lights, they just wouldn't get out of the way.
Yeah.
Those New Jersey drivers.
I was on the shoulder first.
People are just following us on the shoulder, right? You know that happened.
People leave the movie like, man, that was just such an inspiring film, but man, Briana really went nuts on that guy. Like, wow, that was an interesting part. I'm surprised they didn't cut that out of the movie.
Oh, we got more with Briana when we get back after this.
Hi, I'm Michelle Akers, and guess what I did today? I hung out with the Cooligans.
All right, and welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC. Obviously, we are here with Briana Scurry, Hall of Famer, World Cup winner, absolutely amazing. Top of the list of her accomplishments, though, she said during the commercial break was being on our show, which I thought that was what an honor.
Very, very sweet of her to say that. We couldn't get her to say it on camera, but we don't
want to make it hot for everyone else who comes on the show. One of the things that I love is sort of the conversation now that we are sort of a little bit removed from the 99ers. Who really are the best, right? Who are the all-time, people say all-time 11. I'm not going to make you do that. But Christian and I are interested in what would be your all-time five-a-side? If you had to field the five-a-side from your class, the class before, all the way through to today. And we're going to say, look, you can't pick yourself, okay? Just the one rule.
Fine.
Right? Because I would pick myself. But how about this? You can't put yourself in goal. So if you really want...
I definitely can't pick myself.
Put yourself up at striker. Let's see what you got. What would be your top five? And this has to be did you lose sleep? Because this is so tough.
Well, I couldn't pick myself, so I mean, I a little bit of sleep loss there. But I would definitely have to say my all-time five would be in goal would be Hope Solo, clearly.
Okay.
I think she's a great choice there if I'm not choosing myself. So she's a solid player, always has been. Proven herself, winning Olympics and World Cup championships. So she would definitely be my goalkeeper. Christy Rampone, who was Captain America, 300 plus caps, just an amazing leader and player. Absolutely. And then I would definitely have to go with Kate Markgraf in the back as well, because since I'm a defensive player, you got to have two defenders at least on your five-a-side team.
Absolutely.
In the midfield, I would go with Michelle Akers. She's a fantastic leader, always was, just like one of the GOATs of the game, and still today, probably one of the best players to ever play, if not the best player. And then up top, of course, would be Mia Hamm. And, Mia's Mia, and she is just an amazing person and player and just would be able to slice and dice that other team up. And then she, of course, would be a nice setup for Alex Morgan, who would be my fifth player up there, who's really come into her own and is just leading by example. And so that's my five.
Okay.
It's funny. I was wondering if you were going to bring in someone from the more modern era,
Yeah.
Well, Alex is as modern as I'm going to get on that one.
Yeah.
I picked them based on, because if a player can be fantastic, but when the chips are up against it and it's really the biggest stage and the biggest moment, those five players have proven their mettle and ability to get it done, and so that's how I chose it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had Michelle Akers on the show, and we put her through it. I mean, what a test! She succeeded quite well.
We were a real gotcha journalists. But actually, the one thing I learned about Michelle Akers is it wasn't an act. She really is like impervious to negativity. Like it just doesn't go in. She's like, whatever, this is the job that needs to get done. Let's just go do it. And I'm like, I'm not built that way. I'm specifically designed to complain a lot and then do some of it,
Okay.
The harder the work for Michelle, the more she enjoys it.
Yeah.
And if you look at our trophy cabinet, there are 0 World Cup trophies. So that kind of explains.
That's because they don't want us to win.
There's no comic World Cup? Surely there's a comedian.
Let's start a soccer comedy World Cup, and then we're the only.
Well, we have a Sunday League team of all comedians, so I think we might be the only in the world. If I'm not, I haven't heard of another one.
But you'll see why we're the only. There should be no other ones. Okay. Of all those choices you made, was there one that was really difficult? Is there someone that you're like, all right, can we get a bench? Because we need this person on the squad, but it couldn't make the five?
Oh, yeah. I mean, someone like Carly Lloyd, it was really tough to not put her in there because she's obviously proven herself, in the 2015 World Cup, scoring 3 goals in 15 minutes, one from literally 55 yards out. I mean, that's absolutely insane. That's someone who, when you really need it done, she'll do it for you. And then also Tiffany Milbritt, who, a lot of people may not know about, but who, when push came to shove, when she was on the pitch and you needed a goal, she was either going to make it or assist it. And where she was going to create it literally just by her ability to run at the other team and make things happen. And so those are two players that I would have on the bench, in terms of forwards and attacking players. And maybe one other great defender that I didn't put on that list is Joy Fawcett, who played with me in the back and was just a great leader on and off, and was so good at positioning and so fast that she rarely had a slide tackle, because she was just always in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Wow. As far as when you look now, are there any defenders that you feel like, oh, they could have rocked with us back then as well?
Yeah, Becky Sauerbrunn right now, who's just solid in the back and the captain right now for the team. Is just seeing her evolution from when she first came in to the national team when I was still playing to where she is now. Just somebody who's back there, and she's basically like a lockdown cornerback. In football, you don't get a whole lot of positive outcomes the other team against her, because she locks it down in her position. And so she's definitely someone who's come a long way.
All right, Becky Sauerbrunn, the Deion Sanders of the U.S. women.
Exactly.
The other defenders like, could you try against her? Because I feel like y'all focusing on me because Sauerbrunn is here.
All right, we got even more with Briana Scurry coming right up. All right. Thank you again to Briana Scurry for joining us. I mean, I'm literally losing my mind. I cannot believe I am talking to an absolute legend right now. We've seriously appreciated it. We had a bunch of questions from fans that we don't have time for, but I just wanted to mention one very, very quickly. This is from a fan. He is a Spirit and DC United fan, Douglas Reyes Saron. He just said, is Briana going to come hang out with us in Spirit Squadron and Rose Room Collective? Because I know he's one of the founders of Rose Room Collective, so clearly wants your support, especially when fans are back in the stadium.
Absolutely, I'll be there. Bells on.
Nice.
You bet.
Okay, good. We got the confirmation, Doug. All right. Brian, is there anything you want to let people know about before we sign off?
Yes, I mean, I have a lot of things going on, a lot of exciting things. I did a movie last year, a small role in a movie called High Expectations, which is coming out later this year or early next year. So folks want to see what I'm up to. There's a teen movie that Netflix is doing. Just go to my website, briscurry.com, briscurry.com, and you'll be able to find out exactly what's going on, dates and times for everything. And I would love folks to support me, and all my social media is on there as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, show support. I can't wait till the movie comes out. We're gonna have to do like a watch along, or we're gonna have to do something. It's gonna be
just
super.
Christian and I yelling, "We know her! We know her!"
It'd be true. It would actually be true. That's nice.
All right. So everybody else, also remember, follow us at Soccer Cooligans. Follow at Fubo Sports on all social media platforms, and make sure to subscribe to the Fubo Sports YouTube channel for full episodes of the program and a bunch of other great videos. Okay, Briana, let us get our goal celebration gif. So if you, obviously, I mean, goalkeepers are maybe not always, they're not, you don't even necessarily want to be in the situation where they're sending the keeper up. But if you're there, you score a goal.
Or Brandy Chastain is limping, and they're like, it's you. And you're like, there's a lot of other. And they're like, no, you got to get in here. You score the World Cup winner, 99. What's your celebration?
It would have to be Airplane. Woo!
Yeah.
There you go.
well done. Okay, so Brian, thank you so much for joining us. This is absolutely nuts for us. Again, it's an absolute honor to be talking to Hall of Famer and absolute legend. And best of luck with the Washington Spirit going forward. I'm excited about this 2021 season.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so let us end the show the way we normally do, as is tradition. So for Briana Scurry, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!